Hello everyone, my name is Jason Matthew and welcome to the We Can EduTech channel. Today we shall take a high-level look at a e-learning authoring tool called iSpring Suite. This video is sponsored by iSpring. So I've opened up the iSpring Suite application and right away just from the home screen you can see what this software could do. So you could create courses, you could create quizzes, you can do role plays or what we call simulations and scenario-based learning. You can create screencasts like the one that I'm doing right now. We can create interactions and we can create flip books and ebooks and all that good stuff. So it's very exciting and there's a lot that we can do with iSpring Suite. So what I'm going to do is click on create. I'm going to start creating a course. Now when I click create a course, you can see what came up, right? It's PowerPoint. And if you are familiar with PowerPoint, then you're well on your way on using iSpring Suite, because iSpring Suite uses the functionality of PowerPoint and then puts a layer of what they do to create very interactive courses and other engaging e-learning. So just like if I go to the top menu, I click home, this is typical PowerPoint. And then if I go again to the top menu and I click on iSpring Suite 11, I go to all this great stuff that iSpring Suite offers. So before we continue, let's create some slides quickly. Nothing fancy, so title. So now if you look at the block on the left, there's the narration block. And there you can record audio, you can record video, and you can manage narration. So you can bring audio, you can bring video into the slides, but let's look at manage narration. That's an interesting one. So first it prompts you to save the PowerPoint that you created. So let's save the presentation. Now once I save the presentation, it opens up this interface. So it has the title slide and it has slides 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, this cursor at the bottom here is moving as we navigate from slide to slide. So let's say on slide 1, I wanted to add some narration. So I can go under audio, click on text to speech, and it's in beta form. But what it does is that it has these voices that you can use. So if you want to do a voice over a slide, but you don't want to use your voice, you could use one of these voices, many voices that iSpring offers, and you can preview the voice right now. So let's type in something over the slide. This is amazing. And then I click on insert. But there's a limited number, but it's like almost 1 million characters you could use. So let's click insert. Now when I click insert, it's still asking me which slide. So I'm using it on slide 1. And it could be either where the cursor is right now, or you could play it at the beginning of the slide. Let's choose beginning of the slide. Let's click insert. Now let's play that and see how it sounds.
This is amazing.
All right, so you could use this to add voiceovers on your slide. So that's great stuff. And it's in beta mode, so it's just going to get better. All right, the next block is the insert block. And this is where I find the magic happens in terms of the interactivity that is possible by using iSpring Suite. So let's click on the quiz tool. And then the quiz tool opens up. And as you can see, there's so much support here if you need help. So there's tutorials, there's a community you can access, and as well as there's a knowledge base. So there's a lot of support if you want to learn how to create quizzes. So I'm going to click on graded quiz. So I'm going to click on the question. As you can see, there are the classic questions that you can add. There's multiple choice, multiple response, true and false, short answer. And you see, as I hover over one, there's a little block that comes up that gives me a preview of what that question type will look like. And there's some real interesting ones. There's drag and drop, there's hotspots, there's even Likert scales, and then there's the essay type questions. So there's a lot of question types that you can include in your e-learning. So this will be great for knowledge checks and, and what we call formative assessment in the biz. So it keeps learners engaged and helps the learner, to really cover the material. Now you may already have questions from somewhere else. So you could also import questions in, and it's imported using, like, if you have it in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Also, you have a lot of customization capability where you could customize how the quiz looks like. So you could so you could look at the question number, if you want to show the question number, the award points, the navigation, the color scheme. So there's a lot you can do there in customizing how the quiz looks. So that's awesome. So let's look at one of iSpring sample quizzes so you can really see the magic of what it can do. So I'm in my iSpring Space account. This is the space that you can share resources with your collaborators and so on. So they also have samples. So let's look at the quiz. I'm going to click on quiz, and above you can see how it looks on the different devices. So this is on the iPad, this is how it looks on mobile and so on. So let's go back to how it looks on the desktop. And if I start the quiz, this is what you can create using iSpring. So let's start with passwords. Which ones do you consider the safest? I think I'll choose 1, 2, 3, 4 and password. Let's see how lucky I am. Submit. And it gives you instant feedback. It's incorrect. You see your score, rightfully it's 0 because those are not good passwords. And then I can click continue, and it tells me question 2 of 10 questions, and I can continue like that. It gives you the score, and you can submit, and you get the instant feedback. So that's what you want when you have your formative assessments. So it's great for student engagement and retention. Okay, so let's go back to iSpring Suite now. That's quiz. Let's click on interaction. So once again, for every tool that opens up, you have tutorials, video tutorials that you could use. There's a forum that you could access, and then there's a knowledge base. So that's great. I love that iSpring does that. So let's click on new interaction. And these are the common interactions that you will see in most e-learning that you come across. You have steps, you have timeline, there's processes, and then there's that helpful little box that comes out that gives you a brief description of what it does. There's hotspots, label graphics that you can do. So a lot of great interaction types there to choose from. Okay, so I'll close off, and then there's role playing. Now role playing is the one that I'm most excited about, because this is where, and I'm just going to click on new role play, and this is where you can do scenario based learning. And so if I click on new scene, I can ask a question like, what is the weather like today? And then I can choose a character. So let's see, I'm going to choose, and then I can choose the emotion of that character. So normal looks good for that kind of question. I click on close, and then I can add replies. So for this example, I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm going to put sunny, and then I'm going to add a second reply, rainy. And then when I click close, look at what happens. So there's the question, and then there's sunny and rainy. But if I click on the link button now, I can say, well, if this person says sunny, I can then have a response. And similarly, if I click on rainy and I drag, if that person, if the learner responds to and says that the weather is rainy, I can have a response like, did you bring an umbrella? And so on. And you could keep the conversation going. So this is excellent for, like, for instance, if you have HR training, or you safety training, or maybe in the medical field where you have counseling and so on. This is excellent to train your learners in a safe environment, but give them that real life application. So this I find very exciting. Let's look at a better example of this. And again, I'm going to go back to one of the samples that iSpring provides. All right, so I'm back in iSpring Space, And this time I'm going to do this one. So preview. Okay, so if I click on the play button, then I click on the play button again. And this is the scenario using that same tool that we just talked about. So my computer is turned on and not locked, and Mike is away from his desk. Is anything wrong? So you read the question, and then there are three options. I say, no problem. The PC will lock itself automatically. So I choose that option. And then you get this instant feedback. It's incorrect. So never leave your computer unlocked, especially in a public space. So let's click continue. And it brings you back to the question again. So let's say I choose 1. Now it gives me the proper feedback. It's saying it's correct. If the computer is locked, the data is safe. And then you could click continue. And it gives you more questions. So you can work through the scenario. And so in this one, it's maybe the IT department training the staff about information security. So let's go to screen recording now. So screen recording is where you can do a screencast, like the one I'm doing right now. So as you can see, it's this dash box here is the area of the screen that is being recorded. So you can customize that. You can choose whether you want to do full screen, or if you're using an application, you can choose that. Then there's the dimensions. So you could customize what size of dimension of the window that you want, or there's also custom presets as well. So if you want to do, for instance, in dimension, if you want to do HD dimensions, for example, 1080p, you'll be using 1920 by 1080. You can also select, if you have multiple microphones connected to the computer, you could choose the one that you want. And then once you set that all up, also, I should tell you, you could either record with the webcam off or on. So in this example here, I've chosen screen, but I can also click on camera where I'll just record from the webcam alone, or I can record both screen and camera. So like for instance, this video that I've created right now is a screencast, and it's just the screen I'm recording. So in this example here, if I wanted to start recording, all I have to do is click this red button here, and it starts the recording and it will record. All right, the other stuff is you can insert YouTube and so on. Now let's go to the content library. Now there are two versions of iSpring that is offered. There's the iSpring Suite, and then there's iSpring Suite Max. And the Max version has the content library. And I would strongly recommend getting the Max version because of this content library. It's amazing. So you have over 68,000 assets that you can use. And it ranges from slide templates. So every day you have a maximum of 100 templates you could download. And so there are different slide templates that you can choose from. Also for characters. So this is great for creating your e-learning. And you could choose a range of characters there. There's the photorealistic ones, and then there's the illustrated ones, and there's a lot of variation there that you could choose from. And if you go to the left panel there, you can choose whether it's a photo or illustration. And so they give you where you could break it down on a granular level, what kind of character you're looking for, male or female. You could also choose what kind of age group you're looking for, clothing, and so on. And then when you choose one of these characters, so let's choose Helen, you have different poses, different expressions that you could choose from. So there's a wide range of options for this one character, and it goes for each character that's there. So there's a lot of variability, and as you can see, I'm scrolling, and there's so much I could choose from for this character called Helen here. All right, similarly, for backgrounds, wide variety. Use the left panel to kind of as a filter to narrow down the choices to specifically what you're looking for. And for all these assets, you have a maximum of 100 of them that you could download per day. And just to show you the range, so there's objects as well that you could include. So like smartphones and so on. So there's a lot of options there. And icons, that could be very handy. So you even have navigation buttons and so on that you could put on your slides and then use the branching features and stuff to move from one slide to another. So that's also great for that customization. Speaking of jumping from slide to slide, if you go to slide properties, then you will see each of the slides that you have created, and you can change the title of each one. And I spelled presentation wrong. Okay, you can change the timing if you want each slide to advance automatically or not. There's branching as well. So for instance, if I click on slide 1, what's going to happen next? So if I want, I can branch forward and I could choose which slide I want to go to when the learner clicks on slide 1. There's also the layout. I could change the layout. I can even add objects to each slide. So if I wanted to add after the fact, I wanted to add a quiz or a simulation, I can do that. Now let's click on Player. So the Player tool allows you to customize how your e-learning product will look like, and there's a wide range of customization that you can do. And one of the cool stuff I like about the Player is that you can play it at normal speed, or you could increase the speed to double its speed, or you could even slow it down if you have to. So I think that's awesome. And as I said, there's a lot of customizability of how the e-learning product looks like, and you could from the text as well as the navigation. So if at any point in time you want to see, well, what you have created so far, what it looks like, you could always click on the preview button, and that shows you what you have created so far, how it will look when the learner is viewing it. So this is the presentation that I've created. As you can see, it's nothing exciting because we didn't do much, but this is based on this presentation. This is what the learner would see. As I say, they show you how it looks on different devices, tablets, the mobile device, the desktop, and the different orientation, landscape, and portrait. When you click on publish, this is when you want to export what you have created. So if I click on publish, I have a few options. I can save this as HTML5 or as a video on my computer, or I could save it in iSpring space, which is a space that you know, if you have collaborators, you have other people work on the project, you could all collaborate in that space. Then iSpring has its own LMS called iSpring Learn, or if you have your own LMS, let's click on that. Then you have all the different e-learning standards, the classical ones as well as the newer ones. And so you could export as one of these e-learning standards, like for instance a SCORM package or XAPI package, and import that into the LMS that you use. Now the other big thing that, you know, as someone who's creating e-learning that you have to be aware of is accessibility. And as you can see right now, the accessibility mode is off, but if I click that, I could enable accessibility and then save it there. So iSpring Suite creates learning content in accordance with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. It is Section 508 compliant, which means that the courses created with iSpring are recognized by the most popular screen readers, JAWS, VoiceOver, and NVDA. So let's look at pricing. So I'm on the iSpring website. I'm on the pricing tab. As you can see, the one that I demoed, which was the iSpring Suite Max, is $970 US per year per author. And there's another version called the iSpring Suite for $770 US per author per year as well. And as you can see, this is what you get for the iSpring suite, but you get so much more with the iSpring Suite Max. And the additional features that the Max version offers is well worth the increase in price. So you might be wondering, well, how does these prices match up with other course authoring tools? And I would say in that ecosystem, based on what is being offered, the variety of tools and what can be done, that these prices are well within that ecosystem. Also, I should tell you that, don't just take my word for it. There is a 14-day free trial that you could download. There's no credit card required. So please, if you're thinking about using iSpring, go download the free download and that free trial for 14 days, and you try it yourself and see if it works for you. Now, one of the things to look out for is that iSpring Suite only works on the Windows platform. So if you have been following my channel, you know I'm a Mac guy. I love to use my MacBook Pro and Apple and so on. So I couldn't use it for this one. So I had to use my my Windows computer for this one. So there's something to look out for. If I in a Mac Apple ecosystem, just know that this is based on a Windows platform. Also, you can't use iSpring offline. You need an internet connection, so be also wary of that. Now, some of the great stuff about using iSpring is, as we said before, it's PowerPoint based. So it means that if you are familiar with PowerPoint, there's a low learning curve in creating the e-learning products because you already know PowerPoint. So that's a big step forward. It's also might be easier for your collaborators, like they don't have to learn a new software because they are already familiar with PowerPoint. And I can see this software being very useful for instructional designers, for learning and development professionals, for HR, for educators who wants to build, engaging online material. This will work perfectly for them. Especially if you're now getting into the industry, this is something that could be very useful. Speaking of getting in industry, I should have also pointed out, in terms of the pricing plans, this $970 versus $770 is for the business version. But like if you're a freelancer out there, you have the freelancer price, which is much reduced, as well as the academic price, both much reduced from the business versions. So another good thing about iSpring is that they have an exceptional technical support team that is 24/7 available. So you could also access that once you have an iSpring account. So this video was a very high level look. So if there was any feature there that you would want me to go into more detail with, I'm happy to do so. Please let me know in the comment section below. And as I said, go get that 14-day free trial and see for yourself if this is something that works for you. I would love to hear your feedback in the comment section. Thank you for viewing. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye for now.